Alright, this is Joker's Wild. To do it, you need the Joker and, of course, a random deck of playing cards. Okay? I'm going to shuffle them up a little bit here. And we're going to have two cards selected. Now, normally, I would have two separate spectators select them, but I'm just going to select them myself. So there's one and two. Okay. Let's take a look at these cards. We have the King of Diamonds and the Three of Spades. Now again, I would not look at these in performance, but since this is there's no spectators here, I'm going to take a look at them. We have the King of Diamonds and the Three of Spades. So we'll have one placed back into the deck like so, and we'll shuffle it in. And let's see, we'll just put the other one in just like this. The Three of Spades goes in. And we'll mix that into the deck like that. Okay. And now we need to find those cards. Now, like I said, the Joker is wild. I'm going to show what I meant by the Joker being wild. Okay. What we do is we take the Joker, and like I said, it's wild. So all I have to do is count backwards from 3 to 1. I go 3, 2, 1, and just like that, it changes into one of the selections. Okay, that was the easy way. To do it again, I do it while the 3 is still wild. I give it a little shake, and it changes into the King. Now, if I take it like this and I charge it up like a credit card, it changes right back into the Joker. Whoops! And you're ready to throw the cards on the ground. Now, you're ready to start the trick all over again. So that is Joker's Wild, and now let's get into the explanation. Okay, so here's the explanation for Joker's Wild. Real simple effect to do, really easy to do. What you're going to do, you need a Joker, and it just uses two simple color changes, the twirl change and the shake change. Okay, so first of all, you need to know at least one control. Okay. So in performance, you're going to have two cards selected. Of course, you don't look at them, just the spectators do. So there's the 3 and the 2. Actually, let's get a better. We'll go with the Queen of Spades. I want the color change to look better for this explanation. Okay. So Joker's there. They have two cards selected. You have one placed back in. Now you can control this in any way. I'm going to teach you two controls and teach you a double undercut and a Hindu shuffle control. Okay. I like to vary the controls each time so that they don't catch on. You know, it's just like the saying, only perform the same trick once. Well, it's the same thing with the moves. You know, if you got to do a control twice in effect, only do the same control once. So, you know, do a different control when you do the control the second time. Okay. So to do the Hindu shuffle control, it looks like this. You're going to start shuffling the cards, have them place their card into the pack, in this case the 3 of Hearts, and then that card is going to be mixed into the deck. Of course, it was a control, so it's still on top. Okay, let me show you how that's done. What you do is you're going to cut off a small packet, about a quarter of the deck, and you have them place their card. I'm going to leave it face up so that you can see how this happens. Okay. Now, when you go over to grab the next quarter, or however many cards, you know, the next couple cards to shuffle on top, what you're actually going to do here, if you can see this, is when you come here, you're going to grab some of those cards, at least one, because you want to control the one card to the top. So you're going to grab some of them, and that keeps a small break. Okay, and as you pull away, you're going to pull some cards off the top and drop them out. Okay, so you're going to keep pulling these small packets of cards off and throwing cards on the floor as well. That's the best part of the effect, when you can throw cards around. Okay, so you start to cut cards off the pack like this, until you get to a point where you're in about this situation, right about here, where you have a small pack of cards, you break, and then your top stock. Okay, you're going to pull that whole entire small pack off, and then drop your top stock back on. Okay, so we'll do it in real time with the card face up. You're here, and you always want to do this head on so that they don't see the break. Okay, so you're here, and you go, so you're here, and you're going to go boom, 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 like this, and it just looks like you shuffled the cards. I mean, it really does look like a shuffle, especially if you get that speed going. You don't really want a big stop here when you go to still that card off, okay? So what I do to make it a little bit quicker is I'm actually stilling the entire packet, okay? So that first packet, I make sure it's kind of small, because I'm going to still the entire packet away. Okay? It just makes it a little bit easier for me that I don't have to, grab a small packet, a couple cards off there. I can grab the whole thing. Okay? So that is the first one, the Hindu shuffle. So you Hindu shuffle control the first one to the top. The next one, we'll turn that face down now. The next one you can do the same control if you want to, but I prefer to do a different type of control. So I'm going to do the double undercut control. Okay. So you're going to swing cut over and have them place their card on top. What they're doing now is they're placing it on top of the other selection. Okay. So it's like that. Then you're going to, when you come back to close the decks together, you're going to grab a thumb break. Okay. The way you do that is as the decks come together, your thumb is just going to squeeze into the pack, and it's going to put a break right here in the back. Okay. The flash of your thumb is going to go in into there and cause a break. Okay. Once you've got the break, you're instantly after that break is created, so you're here, you've made the break, you're instantly going to take half of the cards under that break, so half under the break and go to the top. And then you're going to take the other half to the top. So that gives you a double undercut, and that just controls the two to the top. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. I'll turn the card face up. They have them place it in, you get your break held, and then you do that. Okay. So that's your double undercut, and that controls your top stock, your two cards to the top. Okay. After that, you're going to need to do the two color changes to reveal your selections. So you talk about how the Joker was wild, and you say, now if you take the Joker while it's wild, now notice what I did there. As I pick this up, I risk kill the deck. When I risk kill the deck, I'm pushing off the top card and pulling it back. That's going to allow me to get my break. Okay. So I do that as I say, okay, so the Joker is wild. I want you to see the Joker's wild, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so now I'm just going to set it on top, squaring it up with the Queen, or the other selection you're going to change it into. Okay, so when you pick this up, you're going with the thumb and the middle finger. Now, if you're holding the deck in your right hand, you're going to be picking the card up with your thumb being on, with your fingers being on opposite indexes. If you have the deck in your right hand, you're going to be picking up at the indexes. Okay, so it'll be, in this case, it's the thumb on the bottom left hand. On my case, it'll be the thumb goes in the bottom left hand corner, and the middle finger goes in the top right hand corner. So you're in this position when you pull the cards off. Okay, so now it's actually two cards, but no one's going to think that it isn't. Okay, now you're going to shake this card as you tell them. Watch, it's going to change right in front of your eyes, just like that. Or you can say something like, well, if you take it while still, while I give it a little shake, it just changes into one of the selections of the Queen of Spades. Okay. Now I like to do this one first because it allows me to catch my break under the next card, and it's unable to be seen. Okay, it gives me good misdirection for that. So as I'm shaking, my first finger just rotates that card around like that. Okay, so I'm going to shake, and I'm just going to do that as I'm shaking. Okay, so if I slow that down, I'm shaking, I'm going like that. Okay? So that's the twirl change. I mean, it's that simple. It's just boom. Okay? So notice what I do too. I do it right on the first flick. I say right here, and then I just start making my, so I do a big motion at first. So I do this big shake, and then I slowly move down to, you know, smaller and smaller until eventually I just stop. That's going to help with the illusion of the card changing. So it's boom, that changed. Now, while I'm doing that, everyone's focused on this. I'm able to push off and pull back and catch a break on the next card. Or you can even buckle if that's the way you want to catch a break. It's up to you. So you do this, you're catching your break, boom, you're there. When you set this down, now you're going to have a triple lift here. Okay, so you set this on top, you have three cards. You're going to pick them up the same way you did before, but you're not going to come out here. Okay, you're going to do a shapeshifter this time, so you're going to stay with the deck. You're going to grab the opposite corners with the middle finger and thumb that's actually holding the deck. Okay, so it'd be here, like that, and you're going to pull down with those fingers. What that's going to do is just buckle the card at the ends of the card like that, and then all you have to do for this change to work is let go of the thumb and keep the first finger there. So when you let go of the thumb and keep the first finger there, it flicks the card around. Okay, so all it's doing is flipping it like that, but it's doing it quickly, so it's like that. Okay. That is the sound of magic, that flicking sound. That's the sound of magic. Okay. And that's the way you get away with it. You tell them it's the sound of magic. Okay, so what I do is I pick that up. So in performance, I pick that up and I say, okay, so now what we do is we take the 3 wild still wild, or in this case it would be you'd be on the queen. So you'd say you take the queen wild still wild, and you just count back from 3 to 1. You go 1, 2, 3, and there it is. There's the 3. It changes into the other selection. That's the 3. So when I do that, I'm just going 1. Oops, I'm going 1, 2, and then 3. I'm flicking it. Now that's going to take some practice. It is a knack, so that will take practice to get that shapeshifter down. But once you've done the change, you then set these on top, and you're just going to let the first card, this card, the queen, drop on top of the pack. Okay, so the way I do it is I just kind of flick it down with my thumb. Okay, so I flick one card off, and now I'm going to pick these 2 up, and it's just basically a double lift at this point. So you can do it any way you want. I just turn the double over, and I take this here and I stick it in the center deck, and I go in and out like that. And I say, when I do it, I say you charge it up like a credit card. It's just something that I say. I don't know why. I just say. So if you take it like this and you just charge it up like a credit card, it changes right back into the Joker. Sometimes it makes people think that I did a switch in the deck, something like that. But you can do it any way you want. Okay, you can do this. You can take it here and say, look, if you take it just like this and blow, it'll change right back into that Joker, and you can start the trick over again. I like to do this as not as an opener, but maybe as like my second or third effect, because it's one of those quick-paced effects, and it just goes over real quick. So when you get to this last change, and you go, okay, so if I just take the card like this and I charge up just like a credit card, it'll change right back into that Joker, and we're ready to start the trick again. Now notice what I did there. It's so subconscious to me. I just did it. I cut the deck as I set the Joker down, or I hand it to the spectator and say, look, it changes right back in the Joker. We're ready to start the trick again. I just cut the deck. Now you can cut it, or you can do a one-handed cut as you're handing the card to the spectator. Do a Charlier. It really is up to you. You don't even have to cut it. I just do that because it gets rid of the evidence. You know, the 2 selections aren't going to be at the top anymore, which they're actually right here now. But when you do a cut immediately after that, now if they want to examine the deck, they're not going to see the 2 selections right at the top. Because maybe if they did figure out what you did, they're going to think, okay, well then that would make the 2 selected cards be on top. So then they're going to look at the top, and of course they won't be there. And they can look at the bottom, and they won't be directly on the bottom. So they'll be like, okay, well